Morning. Today, before we get started, we've got a few minutes before I thought I'd talk about the proper way to breathe through yoga movements. So, last night, as I was looking through my Facebook feed, I came across a post in one of the yoga groups by this teacher who said, I've heard cat and cow cued two different ways, and which way is the right way? And I guess that some people do sometimes cue cat cow opposite of how I do. But the reason that traditionally cat cow is cued with the inhales with your belly going down and your head coming up, and then the exhales pushing the back up, rounding out through the back, doming the back, and relaxing the head down is because in traditional yoga poses, you move with the breath, inhaling to open up the body and exhaling, closing up the body. And the reason for that is because as you breathe in, your lungs expand, fill up, and enlarge. And as you breathe out, they shrink down a little bit. You're letting out all the air and making space to close the body up and tighten it up. So, some examples of this, of course, are the forward fold. Inhale, lifting the hands up, and exhale, folding the body forward, making room as you breathe out to come down, making that space for you to come into. In cat cow, of course, as you inhale, you're dropping the belly down and rolling the shoulders back, opening up the chest area. And on your exhales, you're squeezing that chest area together. So you want to make room by exhaling, pushing all of the air out. Another example is boat pose when we do our boat sit ups, of course. As you open up, you take a big breath in, and on your exhales, coming back in, closing up together, bringing those legs into the chest. So, hopefully, now that you understand this concept, it'll help you when you're going through your yoga practice. I know I do try to cue every pose with the breath because it's so important, but I'm not perfect and sometimes I forget, and maybe sometimes I even say the wrong thing. That's entirely possible. I know I do it the rest of the time. We all have the wrong words come out of our mouths sometimes. But also, it's also helpful to understand that whole concept because then once you take your practice off of the mat and you're walking around and doing your daily activities, just the understanding that as you're opening up your body, you're making room for that breath to fill the lungs up and closing up the body you want to breathe out. I find that that helps me in all of my daily activities. And when I'm doing something, especially, gardening or housework, I even utilize that whole concept of opening up the body to breathe in and closing up the body as you're breathing out during those times. And I feel that it really helps me breathe better. So hopefully that'll help you as well. Let's start today on our backs. Nice, relaxing start to our yoga practice today. You can be flat on your back in a traditional shavasana with your legs straight out. You can have your soles of your feet together with the knees open out to the sides, or bring your legs in for easy pose. Of course, you're also welcome to lay on your belly. I had one student at the gym who always liked to take shavasana on her belly. So that's perfectly fine as well. Just get really comfortable on your mat wherever you are. Close your eyes. Feel the earth beneath you, supporting you. Notice all the points of contact your body makes with the earth. And just allow yourself to sink into those points a little bit more. Start to focus on your breath. At first, just noticing the quality, the temperature, and the texture of the breath. And then begin to deepen and lengthen each breath, not in a forced way, just a slow, gradual increase with each inhale, each exhale. Start to look for your yoga breath, the ujjayi breath. If you're not too stuffed up, you can breathe in and out of the nose with the lips sealed, resting the tip of the tongue just behind the front teeth on the roof of the mouth, and constrict your throat a tiny bit so that you can hear your breath in the back of your head, sounding like the ocean, moving in and out. Focus on that sound of your breath, the sound of the ocean, allowing it to fill your mind, pushing away all other thoughts, and bringing your attention fully present here and now between the four corners of your mat in this moment. Start to do your body scan, working from the crown of your head. Go through each body part one at a time. Move into your forehead. Notice if you're holding any tension in that little spot between the eyebrows, the cheeks, and the jaw. Down through the neck, into the shoulders, through your arms, into your elbows, wrists, and fingers, and through the spine, upper, middle, and lower back. Move through the hips. Excuse me. And down through the legs, into your knees, ankles, and toes. As you go through each body part, just make a mental note of anything that's off today, any sore spots. Remind yourself of any injuries you have, old or new, anything that might affect your ability to come into a pose today. Remember that you can always take a break or modify a pose to suit your body. Every body is different. We all have our own unique history and our own unique genetic makeup, which means that every pose is going to look a little bit different in each body. Remember that it's not about what it looks like, it's about how it feels inside of your body. So just make this practice your own. Take a few more deep, full breaths here, just being inside of your body. Blink your eyes open. Draw your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, lifting the forehead up to the knees. Curl into a tight little ball, squeezing everything together. Release your head back down to the mat. Bring your hands to your kneecaps and do some gentle circles with the knees, giving your lower back a little massage on the ground. And find circles going in the opposite direction. Drop your feet down to the mat with your knees pointing up towards the sky. We're going to come into bridge pose, 3 of them with the breath. Plant your hands so that your middle fingers are just touching the backs of the heels. Or if your feet are a little bit closer and you feel like you don't quite have enough room back there, you can bring them next to the feet. On a breath in, rooting down through the feet, lift your hips up towards the sky, pushing up the belly. Exhale, lowering back down to the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time, nice and slow. 2 more times, going at your own pace with your breath, inhaling to lift. And exhale, releasing back down to the mat. Last one, big breath in, lift the hips up. Exhale, 1 vertebrae at a time, back down to the mat. Lift your feet up off the mat, tucking the fingers inside the creases of both knees. Rock and roll along the spine a few times. And make your way into easy pose. Sitting cross-legged. If it's accessible to you, open up your feet and knees so that both knees are touching the ground. If your ankles are tucked under the knees, you don't feel like you can open them up, that's okay too. Inhale, lifting the hands up overhead. Exhale, folding over the feet, hinge from the hips. Try to keep the spine really long. Release your hands down, walk your fingertips out. Once you find your edge, you can round out through the back and relax your forehead down towards the ground. On your next breath in, walk your hands back, lifting up your chest, float your hands all the way up overhead. Exhale, twisting around to the right. I'm mirroring you, so I'm just doing the opposite side. Bring your left hand across the right knee, and the right hand comes behind you at a comfortable spot. Take a deep breath in, lifting up on the spine. As you exhale, go deeper into the twist. On your next breath in, bring your hands back up overhead. Exhale, twisting around towards the left. Left fingers come behind you. Right hand crosses over the left knee. Lengthen the spine, breathing in. Go deeper into the twist as you breathe out, bending your elbows just a little bit. On your next breath in, come back up to center, hands float up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Reach down and switch your legs. Push the front leg to the back and bring that back leg out in front so your legs are crossed the awkward way. One more time, folding over the feet. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, hinging forward from the hips. Stretch your hands out in front of you. Round up through the back and relax your forehead down towards the ground. On your next breath in, walk your hands back, lift up your chest, float your hands all the way up overhead. Exhale, side stretch down to the right. Plant your right hand beside you. Walk your fingers out to the side and let your left arm come arcing overhead. Feel that nice stretch on the left side of the body. On your next breath in, bring your hands back up to center. Exhale, stretching down towards the left. Plant the left hand down, walk your fingers out, and let the right arm come arcing overhead. Inhale, back up to center. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Release your hands down to your lap. Do some gentle circles with the neck. You can have big or little circles. Be moving fast or slow. Just listen to your body. Do whatever feels right here. And find circles going the other way. Bring your head back up to center, and then make your way to your hands and knees tabletop. Roll over your legs, swing the legs around to one side. Adjust so that your wrists come right below the shoulders and the knees are directly below the hips. Start moving through cat cow, always going with the breath. Inhale to drop the belly down, roll the shoulders back, and bring the gaze up or forward. Exhale to push the spine up towards the ceiling, rounding out through the back, tilting the pelvis down, relax your head and neck down. Keep moving just like that. Try to stretch out the breath and lengthen the motion to match the breath. Your body should be in a constant state of movement here, nice and slow. Come back to a neutral spine as you breathe in. Exhale into downward facing dog, tucking the toes under, lift the hips up. Take a moment here to find your nice, comfortable down dog position. Down dog is kind of like yoga's home base, so you got to make sure you're pretty comfortable here. Hands and feet are both about hip width distance apart. You can play with that a little bit and widening the stance, bringing the feet a little closer together, noticing how that feels different, what feels right inside of your body. Pedal out the legs, bending one knee and then the other to get the blood flowing through the hips and the legs. You can come up onto the tippy toes and then push the heels down towards the mat. Make sure your shoulders are moving down the back towards the hips, out of the ears. And the head and neck are really relaxed, just dangling down towards the ground. Lift your right heel high. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, stepping the foot through between the hands. Drop the left knee down to the mat and rise up on an inhale to low lunge. If you're feeling wobbly here at all, you can drop your hands down to your knee to help with the balance. And once you get nice and stable, lift the hands up, turn the pinkies in, keep the shoulders sliding down the back. Interlace your fingers, pointers up, take a deep breath in. Exhale into a gentle back bend, pushing the hips forward. Be real gentle with the neck. Straight back up, breathing in. Exhale, twisting towards the right. Drop the left hand across the right knee and reach your right arm back. Maybe you can line it up with the back leg. Maybe you're just reaching towards that direction. On your next breath in, raise your hands back up overhead. Exhale, release your hands down, framing the front foot, and start to bring your weight back, sitting back on the left foot and the right hip. You can always have a block here. Slide a block underneath your right hip so that you're elevated a little bit there, or just sit back on that foot. Start to walk your hands forward, folding over the right leg. Don't worry about getting down very far here. Flex your right toes, relax your head and neck down. On your next breath in, walk your hands back to lift up your chest. And then sit up on the left knee and start to slide your right heel forward, coming towards the forward splits. You don't have to get very far at all. Don't worry about getting very far down. If you've got some blocks here, you can find your blocks underneath your hands on either side of the front leg, or just plant your hands on the mat. Gently bend and straighten the front knee, moving in and out of the pose, really nice and slow. Exploring the range of motion. Notice how the stretch changes in the back hip and the front leg as you bend and straighten that knee. If you want to go deeper, you can bend your elbows back and lower down the chest over the front leg. You can find stillness here, or you can go with the breath in and out of the pose, bending the elbows, lifting up and lowering down. On your next inhale, lift your chest up. Slide your right heel back and set your right foot down on the mat. Tuck the left toes under. Left knee pops up. Look forward. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, stepping the left foot up to the right. Forward fold at the front of the mat. Take a half lift as you breathe in. Folding forward on your breath out. Inhale, rising up to standing, bending the knees, rolling up the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Hands float up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Side stretch. Inhale, hands high. Interlace the fingers, pointers up. Exhale, stretching down to the right. Back up to center, breathing in. And to the left as you breathe out. Inhale to center. Exhale, standing back, bend, cactus the arms, or bring the hands to the back pockets. Straight back up on a breath in. Exhale, forward fold, hinge from the hips. Keep the spine really long as you go down. Half lift, breathing in, bringing the torso parallel to the ground. Exhale, double dip chaturanga. Plant your hands, hop or step back to your high plank. Lower down halfway, keep the elbows tucked close into the ribs. Up dog or cobra, breathing in, pulling the chest through the shoulders. Exhale, roll over the toes, lift the hips up to downward facing dog. On the left heel comes up high. Take a big breath in. Step your foot through between your hands as you breathe out and drop the right knee down to the mat. Rise up to low lunge on a breath in. You can bring your hands straight up or you can drop them down to the knee while you find your balance. Interlace your fingers, pointers up. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, really gentle back bend. This is a balance challenge, so go nice and slow. Straight back up as you breathe in. Exhale, twisting around to the left. Drop the right hand across the left knee and reach the left arm back. Maybe you can line it up with the back leg. Maybe it's just reaching towards that direction. On your next breath in, raise your hands back up overhead. Exhale, release, drop your hands down, framing the front foot, and bring your weight back, sitting back on that right foot. You can stick a block or a book underneath the left hip if you like, or you can just sit down on the right foot. Start to crawl your hands forward, lowering down, bending over the left leg. Don't worry about getting down very far at all. Just listen to your body. Let your body tell you where that edge is. And remember, you never want to be right up against the edge. Find your edge and then pull back just a little bit. Inhale, walk your hands back, lifting up the chest. And then come to stand up on the right knee, sliding the left heel forward. Again, here's a chance to use your blocks underneath your hands on either side of the front leg, or just plant your hands on the mat. Gently bend and straighten that front knee. Notice all the different places you feel the stretch while you're moving in and out of the pose. If you would like to go deeper, you can bend your elbows back and lower down the head over the front knee. Find some stillness or keep moving. On your next breath in, lift your chest up. Slide or scoot the left heel back and set your left foot down on the mat. Tuck the right toes under, right knee pops up. Look forward, take a big breath in. Exhale, stepping the right foot up to the left, forward fold. Take a half lift to breathe in. You can bring your hands to your shins or float them over the ground. Forward fold on your breath out, relaxing the upper body down. Inhale to standing, bending your knees, rolling your spine nice and slow. Head comes up last, and then lift your hands up. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Side stretch again, this time starting to the left first. Inhale, hands high. Interlace the fingers, pointers up. Exhale, stretching down to the left. Back up to center, breathing in. And to the right as you breathe out. Inhale up to center. Standing back bend on your exhale. Come straight back up on a breath in. Fold forward as you breathe out. You can bring your hands through heart center or swan dive with the hands out wide. Take a half lift to breathe in. Double dip chaturanga, breathing out. Try to bring the soles of the feet parallel to the wall behind you while you're lowering down. Up dog or cobra on a breath in. If your legs are all the way on the ground, keep a little bend in the elbows. Exhale to downward facing dog. One last sun salutation, just straight up and down this time. Going with the breath, no side stretch. Bend your knees, look forward to your hands, take a deep breath in. Exhale, hop or step in between the hands, forward fold. Half lift as you breathe in. Forward fold on the breath out. Rising up to standing on a breath in. Take your whole inhale to come up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Going straight back down this time. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, diving forward, keeping a nice long spine as you go down. Half lift to breathe in. Double dip chaturanga, breathing out however you like it. You can drop the knees down if you like. Inhale to up dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. And drop your knees down to your mat and bring the knees together to touch. Send your right foot straight out behind you like you're stamping it into a wall. If that's enough, you can stay right there. If you want a little bit more, you can lift the left arm up as well, stretching the fingers straight out in front of you. Take a big breath in here. Exhale into a little crunch. Bring your elbow to your knee. 4 more times with the breath. Inhaling, lengthening. Exhale, coming into your crunch. Bring the elbow to the knee. 3, 2, and last one. Inhale, sending your arm and leg out long. Exhale, drop your left hand down to the mat, tuck your left toes under, and lift your right foot up to the sky. Open up the hip, bend the knee back. You can bend and straighten that right leg a couple times. Square your hips off towards the ground, send your right heel high. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, step the right foot through between the hands. Rising up on an inhale, make your way to warrior one. Back foot comes down at about a 45-degree angle. Front toes are pointing straight towards the short end of the mat. Pull the left hip forward, making sure to keep the back pinky toe edge really glued down on the mat. Check on the front knee. Make sure it has a nice deep bend directly over the ankle. Once you've got your feet situated, you can lift your hands up, turning the pinkies in. Keep the shoulders sliding down the back. Humble warrior. Take a big breath in here. As you breathe out, sweep your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, push down, puff up the chest, take a big breath in. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine really long as you go down. Find your edge, relax your head and neck down, let your right body come to rest against the right inner thigh, and peel the arms off the back. Push up through the hands to keep the shoulders out of the ears, sliding down the back towards the hips. On your next breath in, rise back up to warrior one. And let's come into pyramid pose. Straighten out the front knee. Open out the arms to the sides. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips, still keeping that spine really long. Stop when your torso comes parallel to the ground. Drop the gaze to the big toe. Feel imaginary strings pulling your arms out in either direction, pulling the crown of the head forward. Take one last big breath in here. Exhale, release your hands down, framing the front foot. Here's another chance to use your blocks if you've got them underneath your hands on either side of the foot, or you can just plant your hands on the mat. Relax your head and neck down over your front knee. The front knee in pyramid pose is traditionally straight. If that doesn't feel accessible to you, you can have a bend in that front knee, and you can also move in and out of the pose, gently bending and straightening that front knee ever so slightly. Notice how the back of the leg feels as you push the knee back towards straight. You never have to come perfectly straight. If that doesn't feel right, just reaching in that direction. Coming into revolve triangle pose, plant your left hand right next to the right foot on the mat or on a block. Bring all the way to the left hand. Inhale, lifting the right arm high, opening up the chest toward the side wall. Stretch the right fingers up to the sky, bringing the arms perpendicular to the floor. If it's okay on the neck, you can bring your gaze up towards your upper hand. Take one last big breath in here. Exhale, release your right hand back down to the ground. Inhale, lifting the right heel up high, coming back into three-legged dog. Exhale, chaturanga. You can keep your foot up or drop it down to the mat. Up dog or cobra to breathe in. Drop that foot down. Exhale, roll over your toes. Lift your hips up to downward facing dog. Drop your knees down to the mat, coming back into hands and knees tabletop, and bring the knees together to touch. Let's try that whole sequence on the left. Lift your left foot up like you're stamping it into a wall behind you. If that's enough, stay right there. If you want a little bit more, you can reach your right fingers out in front of you as well. Take a deep breath in, stretching your arm and leg really long. Exhale, coming into your little crunch, elbow to knee. 4 more times. Just go with your breath. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. 3, 2, and last one. Inhale, sending your arm and leg out really long. Exhale, drop your right hand down to the mat. Tuck the right toes under. Inhale, lifting the left foot up. Open up the hip. Bend the knee back. Bend and straighten that leg a couple times. Roll back over so that your hips are facing the ground. Send your left heel high. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, step the foot through between the hands, rising up on an inhale, making your way to warrior one. You can bring your hands straight up, or you can drop them down to the hips to do a hip check, pulling the right hip forward, making sure that right back pinky toe edge is rooted down to the mat. Check on the front knee, right over the ankle, toes pointing straight forward. Once you feel you've got your legs nice and situated, inhale, the hands come up overhead, turning the pinkies in. Feel the shoulders sliding down the back. Humble warrior, take a big breath in here. Exhale, sweep the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers, push down, puff up your chest. Take a deep breath in. Fold forward as you breathe out. Keeping the spine nice and long, leading with the chest, hinging from the hip. Find your edge, relax your head and neck down, and peel the arms off the back. Push through the hands to keep the shoulders out of the ears. Don't forget to breathe. On your next inhale, rise back up to warrior one. And let's make our way into pyramid pose. Straighten out the front knee, open out the arms wide to the sides. Take a big breath in here. As you breathe out, fold forward, hinging from the hips, keeping that spine nice and long as you go down. Drop the gaze down to the big toe. Feel your arms stretching really long out in either direction. Crown of the head is stretching straight forward. Take one last big breath in here. Exhale, release. Drop your hands down to the ground. If you like, you can use your blocks here underneath your hands, or plant your hands on the mat on either side of the front foot and relax your head and neck down over your front knee. You can bend and straighten that front knee, or you can find some stillness, pushing the knee back towards straight. Maybe that feels good to you. You can straighten that knee all the way. Feel a nice stretch on the back of the front leg. Coming into revolve triangle pose, plant the right hand on the block or on the mat right next to the left foot. All weight comes to the right hand. Inhale, lifting the left arm high, opening up the chest toward the side. If it's okay on the neck, you can bring your gaze out towards the upper hand. Try to bring your arms perpendicular to the floor. It's all right if they're not perfectly perpendicular, just reaching as close as you can towards that direction. Take one last big breath in here. Exhale, release, plant your left hand down on the ground. Inhale, lifting the left heel high, coming back to three-legged dog. Exhale, double dip chaturanga. However you like it, you can keep that foot up or drop it down. Drop the knees down to the mat if you like. Up dog or cobra to breathe in. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Let's take a short break here. Drop the knees down to the mat. Make your way to child's pose. Untuck your toes, push your hips back to your heels, and relax your forehead down towards the ground. Let your elbows come to rest on the ground, relaxing through the arms and the fingers. Close your eyes here. Take a moment to focus back on the breath. My very favorite aspect of yoga is the sense of presence, being fully present in the body that it brings to me. Just take a moment here to notice everything about how your body is feeling. Bring your awareness to the boundary of the self, the skin. Notice how the mat feels underneath your fingertips, your knees, and your toes. Notice how your breath feels as you're breathing in and out. Feel the back rising and falling with the breath. Take a few more deep, full breaths here. Come into puppy pose. Start to crawl your fingertips forward and lift the hips up. Hips can come right above the knees or just behind. Reach your chin or chest down towards the mat. Feel a nice gentle back bend here. Feel the belly stretching out. On your next breath in, bring your hands back, lifting up your chest. Come to hands and knees, tabletop. Exhale, tucking the toes under, lift the hips up to downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look to your hands, take a big breath in. Exhale, hop or step between the hands, forward fold. Half lift, breathing in. Forward fold as you breathe out. Inhale all the way to standing, bend the knees, unroll the spine one vertebrae at a time, float your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Chair pose. Today we're going to do a twisted chair pose, revolve chair pose. You can have your big toes touching with some space between the heels, or you can bring your feet onto two different train tracks. Mine always feel more comfortable with the toes touching, but it just depends on you. Whatever feels good is fine. Inhale, lifting the hands up. Exhale, sit back into your chair. Push your hips down and back. Lengthen the spine. Wiggle your toes. Make sure most of the weight's in the heels. Bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath in, stretching up the spine really long. Exhale, twisting towards the right. I'm going to mirror you, so I'm doing the opposite side. Tuck your left elbow outside of the right knee and push your hands together to come deep into this twist. If it's okay on the neck and the balance, you can bring your gaze up towards the ceiling. Try to keep your knees pointing towards the front. Sometimes that elbow can start to push them over to the side. Keep the knees centered right in front of the hips and the toes. Release on a breath in, coming to half lift pose. Exhale, folding forward. Relax the upper body down. Inhale to standing, bending the knees, rolling the spine up nice and slow. Bring your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Let's try that on the other side. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, sitting back down into the chair, pushing the hips down and back. Shoulder blades are sliding down the back. Wiggle the toes, make sure the weight's in the heels. And let's come in on the other side. Hands come to heart center. Take a deep breath in, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting around to the left. Right elbow tucks outside the left knee. Push the palms together. Come real deep into that twist. If it's okay on the neck, you can bring the gaze up towards the ceiling. Release on your next breath in, coming to half lift. Exhale, folding forward. Relax everything down. Bring your fingertips in front of the feet. Weight comes to the fingertips. Heel toe your feet out nice and wide. And let's come into big toe pose, one at a time. Grab onto your big toes. Slide the middle finger and index finger in between the big toe and the second toe. Wrap them underneath the big toe. And lock them in place with the thumb. Once you've got both of those toes, you can relax your torso down, relax the head and neck. Bend your knees as much as you need to be able to grab onto the toes. You can also bend your elbows out to the sides to bring the chest closer in to the legs. You can find stillness here. You can bend one knee and then the other. Get a little motion going on. Release your hands from your toes. Weight comes back to the fingers to heel to the feet back together again. Big toes touching, little space between the heels. Bend your knees, rising up to standing nice and slow. Take your time. Bring your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Tree pose. Again, I'm going to mirror you, so I'll be doing the opposite side. Bring all weight to your left leg. Right knee is pointing straight out to the side. 3 foot placement options. Toes on the ground, sole of the foot on the ankle. Heel right underneath the knee in that little curve. Or you can bring your foot above the knee, all the way up on the thigh. Just make sure you don't push in the knee joint with your foot. You can keep your hands on your hips or bring your hands to heart center and just work on the feet today. Or if you'd like to include the arms, inhale, lifting the hands up overhead. Take one last big breath in here. Exhale, release just your arms. Bring your right knee out in front of you. Interlace your fingers outside of the knee. If this is enough, you can stay right here. Already feeling a balance challenge, just stay where you are. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can bring your left hand to your hip and start to open out the right knee towards the side. If you like, you can also bring that left arm up to help a little bit with counterbalance. And if you're feeling pretty stretchy and flexible in that right leg, maybe you can grab the pinky toe edge of the foot and start to open out the leg. Definitely going to want to have that left arm up to help with the counterbalance here. Take one last big breath in and release. Shake it all out. Let's try those 2 poses on the left. All weight comes to the right foot. Left knee is pointing straight out to the side. Same foot placement options here, but you're welcome to take a different one on this side. Our bodies look symmetrical, but they aren't. Sometimes they feel really different. Toes on the ground, sole of the foot on the ankle, heel in the little curve right underneath the knee, or all the way up on the thigh. Hands can be at the hips. Bring the hands to heart center. Or if you like to include them, inhale, lifting the hands up overhead. Notice what's going on here with the right hip. Sometimes when we're balancing on one leg, we tend to lean into that hip. You want to keep the hip really in line with the rest of the leg and the body. Make sure you're not pushing that hip over towards the right. Lift up on the hips. And also notice what's going on with the standing foot. Even the most accomplished, most seasoned yogi is going to have some movement in that standing leg. That's just your body balancing over and over again as your weight shifts. Just feel your muscles working. Take one more big breath in. Exhale, release just your hands. Bring your left knee out in front of you. Interlace your fingers outside of the knee. If this is enough, just stay right here. If you want a little bit more, bring the right hand to the hip and start to open out the left knee towards the side. Again, you can also lift the left arm up to help with counterbalance. And if you're feeling real flexible and stretchy in that left leg, maybe you can reach for the pinky toe edge, start to open out the leg all the way. Definitely going to want to bring that right arm up to help with counterbalance here. Take one last big breath in and release as you breathe out. Shake it all out. Whew. Hand to foot pose or gorilla pose. Feet come hip width distance apart. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, folding forward, keeping a nice long spine as you go down. Once you find your edge, relax your head and neck. One at a time, lift up your toes and slide your hand underneath your foot so the palm of the hand is facing the sole of the foot and the toes are resting right in the crease of the wrist. Again, you can bend your knees as much as you need to get your hands all the way underneath the feet. And once you've got them there, you can find some stillness or bend one knee and then the other. Getting a little motion going on, blood flowing through the hips and the back and the legs. Here you can also bend your elbows out to the side if you want to bring your chest closer into the legs for a deeper stretch there. Nod your head yes, take a deep breath in. And shake your head no, breathe it out. One more time, nod your head yes, big inhale. Shake your head no, exhale. Release your hands out from under your feet and bring weight to your fingertips at the front of the mat to heel toe your feet out even wider. Toes out, heels in. Inhale, bending the knees, rising all the way up to standing. Exhale, sitting down into your deep squat. Bring your hands to heart center, bend the knees and push your hips down to the ground. You can open up your feet as much as you need to get the heels to touch the ground. You can push your knees out with your elbows. Sit up nice and straight. Feel the crown of the head stretching up towards the sky. Take one more big breath in and release as you breathe out. Make your way to a seat. Coming into boat pose, knees pointing up towards the sky. Start by clasping your hands around your knees and just sitting up really straight and tall, lengthening the spine. Try to keep your spine nice and straight. Release your hands, tuck your fingers inside the creases of both knees, and lean back to start to float the feet. If this is enough, you can stay right here. If you want a little bit more, you can release your hands out to the sides. We're just going to hold our boat pose here for 3 to 5 more breaths. If you want a little extra challenge, maybe you can straighten out those legs. That one's really hard. Take one last big breath in and release as you breathe out. Drop your feet down to the mat. Bring your hands behind you, fingers pointing towards the hips. Gently windshield wiper the knees side to side. And come down onto your back. Finding another bridge pose. This time we're going to hold it. Bring your hands up overhead, stretching the fingers out. Feet are planted on the ground right behind the hips. We're going to try to come up and hold our bridge pose for 3 breaths. Inhale, rooting down through the feet, lifting the hips up. Push the hips up. Feel that nice stretch in the belly. Stay really strong in the legs and breathe. One last big breath in. Exhale, release back down to the mat. Nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time, really gradually. Hug your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lifting the forehead up to the knees, curling into a tight little ball, squeezing everything together. Release your head back down to the mat. Open out your arms, widen a T. Coming into a supine twist here, float your legs on a tabletop, 90 degrees in the knees and hips. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, dropping the knees down together to the right, all the way to the floor. Try to keep the 90-degree angle in the knees and hips. Right fingers can tuck inside the crease of the left knee to help the legs stay down. And bring the gaze over to the left hand to complete your twist. Release your right hand back out to the side. Lift your knees up to center, breathing in. Exhale, dropping them down towards the left, all the way to the ground. Left fingers can tuck inside the crease of the right knee. And bring the gaze over to the right hand. Release your left hand back out to the side. Lift your knees up to center on a breath in. Happy baby pose. Hold outside the knees with the knees bent, or open up the feet and reach for the pinky toe edges of the feet. Pull the knees in towards the armpits, pushing the tailbone back down flat on the mat. Gently rock side to side. If you like, you can bend one knee and straighten out the other leg. And just go back and forth like that a couple times. And release. If there's any last pose you'd like to do that we didn't get to in class today, you're welcome to take that now. Otherwise, just find your way into Shavasana, our final resting posture. Adjust your clothing so that you're comfortable. Bring your chin into your chest and then rock your head side to side, letting your head fall back to its natural center point. Lift up your heart, pull the shoulders down the back. Hands can be palms facing up or down, or bring one hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. And release your body. Feel all the tension flowing out of you. Imagine that you're melting into the ground. Release your breath, returning back to natural breathing. And release your mind. Just watch your thoughts come and go. Like birds in the treetop, you see them tweeting away and they fly away and disappear to be replaced by something new. Find a few moments of stillness to complete your practice today. Blink your eyes open and start to make your way back up to a seat. Thank you so much for joining me today for yoga. Namaste.